afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frankie. I'll be introducing the wedding parties. And now introducing for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Jacob Sadek.
And we're going to kick this off, and it's a little toast from everybody here.
I was driving over to the arena in my pickup truck when I had some thoughts. I hope you have a good life. A little baby, 2 babies, 3 baby Sadeks. A joyous life, a little place you can call your own, and my boot up his ass.
We're making a documentary on expensive weddings.
I have no issue with the wedding. Have a wedding if you can afford it. Don't take out a loan for a wedding.
Yeah, right.
Can't we just go down to town hall, get a marriage license, beach sticker, lollipop, instant health care?
You are a beautiful bride. Now don't forget, honey, this day is all about you.
It's all about health insurance.
Did I ever actually tell you the story of Maya and Nina's wedding?
No, I don't think so.
We were like, you know what? We started dating on November 23rd. And we were like, well, I think we might be able to do this on November 23rd. So I emailed my mom and I was like, would you be able to make a wedding Monday, possibly? And we walk in and the Justice of the Peace thinks this is important to us.
She's lit like candles.
Candles
She
and
lit
crap,
some candles.
yeah.
It's pouring rain. Thunder is clapping. I mean, I really feel like I'm at a funeral where she's like, well, do you guys want to stand by the fire?
She was like, do you guys have your own vows you want to recite?
And she said, do you have rings? And I looked at you. I was like, do we? And I'm like, why is this a requirement?
So
Like,
she had vows that I think were actually somebody else's. Like, you are my best friend.
to Hank and Maria. And there is a very blurry photo of us kissing. We got pizza and that was that. And we both look just very tired.
We both had work. We both had school. We were both trying to close on a house.
That's the story. That was how we got married.
Timeless,
Dazzling.
modern,
Vibrant.
unforgettable,
Quirky.
and above all,
Mine.
Always laughing.
This is the first relationship that's really been seriously considering spending the rest of my life with somebody.
The formal proposal was Christmas Eve, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, do you want to open a gift? And he gave me 2 options. I'm like, I don't know, you choose. And he completely surprised me in front of the Christmas tree, and it was just perfect. I was really hoping and praying that someone in my life would get down on his knee and just propose, and the way he did it was just absolutely awesome. So I'm gonna start crying.
I was married in July of 2012, and I was divorced, well, officially divorced by June of 2013. My parents wanted to be very involved because it was their daughter's wedding, and it's like my dad has a very big daddy's little girl thing and wanted everything to be just so. And I kind of said, it was like, I just want to wear like a sundress and go to Coney Island and we can just ride the Cyclone all night. And they were like, no, that's not happening. Our ceremony was at the All Souls Church, a Unitarian church on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And then our reception was at the Kimberly Hotel on the rooftop, which is in Midtown. My parents said, oh, well, maybe we should just do it in, a non-denominational, because church or whatever, because it's inexpensive. And then they said, well, why don't you guys get married where we got married? Which was very sweet, but now I feel terrible.
We just want to have a great time, and everybody's like, well, what about the favors? Well, what about the flowers? Well, what about the food? Are you going to do the food? How are you going to do the food?
It's great to have the family together to celebrate us coming together. It's just a matter of, well, there's better things to spend money on.
Right.
I'd much rather spend that money on the honeymoon.
Exactly.
I think it was the traditional idea of what a wedding's supposed to be, is to help 2 people start their life together. And we've kind of already started.
It was really the responsibility of the father of the bride to finance the wedding, right? I gather, however, that custom has kind of disappeared, so the couple getting married feel incumbent on themselves.
Things are a little bit different when you want to get married in your 20s, I think, than when you get married, according to society, when you're older.
They don't come with their moms a whole lot, which they used to. They used to come with their mother, and then when the finances came in, the mother and the father would come in.
What I see is a lot of family dynamics are shifting and changing. A lot of couples today already have children and they're now getting married.
It's very clear from all the statistics that people are getting married later in life. And it used to be marriage was one of the beginning steps in life that went along with getting a job and this kind of stuff. But our economy and our society has evolved in a way, making education very much more important. So people also, there's this tendency to postpone marriage until after you finish going to school.
Adam and I got engaged after we'd been dating for about 2 years, but we had decided that regardless, we were going to get married 1 year after I graduated from college. I graduated right in the economic collapse. We figured we would keep it fairly cheap, but this was also on the assumption that after Adam graduated, we would have jobs. And that didn't exactly happen.
I would have waited longer, saved money, like waited a few years. But my parents were kind of like, you're not going to be one of those couples who waits 5 years and you're engaged forever. And, no, let's just do this and we'll pay for it. And they were footing the bill. So what are you going to say?
I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about what I wanted my wedding to be like. I just spent time thinking about I wanted to get married to Jim until after we got engaged. And then it was like, oh crap, we have this huge party we're supposed to plan and throw.
When I was 27, I was engaged, not to you. I didn't really think that I was ever going to get married, and I was fine with that. But then I met Hayden, and things totally changed.
As we started getting into how much detail was involved in planning something like this, and we definitely couldn't afford to hire somebody to plan it for us, so that was the point where I started to feel like I don't think that I need to have a big party with everybody I know there. Maybe it would be better to just elope and do a small thing.
The whole process, picking out the dress, the reception, it honestly made me physically ill. I'm like, this is just not what I want. I'd rather get on a plane, just elope somewhere. There's all this focus and all this input from other people, friends, family, that turns it into either a circus and or a fundraiser, in my opinion.
And I don't think we really got a lot of strong external pressure from our families, but there was definitely a feeling of nobody wanted us to do that. And not just our families, but none of our friends wanted us to do that either.
We also wanted to elope. My parents were completely all for us eloping, and unfortunately it's now turning into, well, what about your grandparents? What about your aunts and uncles, your friends, your cousins? Everybody wants to see you get married. I would not want a wedding at all. I would love to have just a simple ceremony somewhere, just the two of us, a couple of witnesses, and that's it. Maybe our parents.
Of course, a lot of people get married and never have a real wedding, right? People do that all the time. You go to Justice of the Peace, they're not quite the same thing. That's excitement, it wouldn't be there and stuff.
You just say, oh, we're having a party. We got married. Join us for our barbecue. You're not going to get grandma to travel across the country. Maybe grandma.
Would people travel for a commitment ceremony, or would they travel for an actual wedding? They're not the same.
My father stepped in and kind of really wanted us to perhaps do it at a church. But unfortunately, we're not religious in any way. So we both chose to do it at a hall and then have the reception afterwards. And now it's a lot of, well, we have the money to give you. Can we just buy it for you?
We decided that we wanted to pay for the whole thing ourselves because we definitely didn't want to feel any pressure from anybody to do a specific, in a church or any kind of denomination.
People seem to think that they can go to a Justice of the Peace and it's just going to be, bam, here you are. I mean, it can be very simply 30 seconds. I can actually have you give me the license, and in 30 seconds, you're legally married in the Commonwealth. No witnesses, no blood test, just give me the license. But then when I start talking with couples, they say, well, you may have some religious beliefs. Oh, no, we don't have any religious beliefs. Okay. What about your parents, your grandmothers? If they have a very religious grandmother or grandfather, just by putting a simple reading in the ceremony that has some religious overtones, it doesn't have to be, the dotheth and the thoutheth, but it has some religious significance. That keeps grandma happy.
And he read, a blessing of the sea at the end. We were in Newport. There's the water. I guess that's what he does. You need to talk. I'm talking too much.
I would be happy to talk.
I never imagined what my wedding would be like. For the longest time, I didn't even think I would get married, at all, ever. Originally, I thought that we could have a wedding for $5,000, which I realized is not really. Our budget that we ended up selling on was around $10,000 to $12,000, which is a lot of money to me, but on the very low end.
Adam's ideal wedding would be to start the procession by playing a little bit of The Bride of Frankenstein. The part where she says, "We belong dead."
You stay. We belong dead.
And then we would get married. I think that he and I figured $5,000 would be enough to pay for absolutely everything. That would include renting out the theater, and having the wedding, whatever costs are associated with that. When he proposed to me, it was very much, we're gonna get married. Not quite right now, we'll figure out the exact date later, but basically as soon as we're both graduated and in a good position, we want to be married. It was just like, okay, well, maybe we can do it next year. Maybe we can do it next year, as soon as we get some savings.
My advice to anybody would be, don't wait to get married because you don't have enough money. It's a wrong move. You should get on with your life by getting married if you found the right person. Because the irony is that people who do get married, and this is very well documented, immediately start doing much better financially, economically, than people who are not married. So getting married is actually a way to improve your financial situation. But this fixating on expensive weddings is kind of negates that. Married men especially begin earning a lot of money, a lot more money. Married women do fine until they have children, of course, and then they tend to cut back on participation in the labor force.
I got laid off after Hurricane Sandy, so then I didn't have a job. He did have a job, and then it became this very very scary kind of 50s traditional, I was cleaning the house all day and had to have dinner ready when he got home. And I guess it's kind of silly because it's really only a difference in name and title, but it felt a lot more permanent, oh my God, this is what my life's gonna be now. There might not be an end to this.
Every now and then one of us will say to the other, so when are we gonna get married? And then we both kind of shuffle off and don't answer that question. And at this point, I don't even know what the reasons are.
My parents had asked me, and they said, when you think of your dream wedding, what do you think of? And I had already told them, I was like, I want to just go hang out and go to Coney Island. And they're like, no, your real dream. I want to say that the total came out somewhere in the I want to say it was $50,000, all said and done, and that was for 60 people. That figure became a really big problem when we split up. That really was that was a big part of my parents didn't speak to me, for 6 months, and a big part of that was we just spent $50,000 on you. What do you mean? Try harder,
We're at 126, but I'm counting on 130 people. We are about 10 months out of the wedding, and the only thing that we've locked in is the hall.
In Tuftsfield Fairgrounds, where we can have the dinner and the dancing, and they also have a, was that room you get ready in?
The bridal room.
Yeah, that one.
That's the main reason we got married in my hometown, which is in southern Michigan, in the middle of nowhere in a farming community, because our alternative was New York or Boston, and we weren't going to spend, we couldn't possibly, if we were paying for it ourselves, never would have been able to spend $30,000 on a wedding.
$12,000, that was our target.
And we went a little bit over that, but not by more than $500 or $600.
Yeah.
So we just squeaked by.
$4,000 for a wedding is absolutely nothing. I mean, even the hall right now the total will be $2,100. I think our stretch number was no more than 6,000. We're really hoping for 5,500.
And I'm finding that so many brides are doing the do-it-yourself, and of course getting their ideas from Pinterest and the Knot and things like that, but trying to do it themselves.
Show of hands, who here works with Pinterest all the time? Who wants to tell me what Pinterest is?
Well, I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you how we use it.
Like a lot of people I know are getting married. I can scroll through all of their stuff, right? And if I like something, I can pin it, and then I can put it on one of my boards. So I can like save it for later. It's more like inspiration than it is like shopping.
For us, it's more telling them this is what's in fashion. Go and look at it, and then if you're interested, call us.
You ask for their Pinterest address, and you can go on their board, and you start to see a common theme, and you say, oh, okay, that's what she's getting at. You know, she may not think she knows, but she keeps pinning the same things.
And it also is a good starting point to start educating brides on cost. Like we were talking about cost and what, okay, they'll come to me and they'll show me a beautiful letterpress invitation, but we can also achieve a similar look doing flat digital printing.
It is interesting, and I would love to hear if you guys agree with me, that I think Pinterest has made, no matter where you are, has kind of made all the weddings look the same. Regional specialties of Boston and nautical and that kind of thing, or when you're out in the country, you're going to do mason jars and burlap and lace. Pinterest has brought those from all over the country, and that's what everybody wants to do because everybody's on Pinterest, and those are the pins that keep getting pinned.
But from 30 years ago or 20 years back, when the brides used to come to me and I would be educating them or telling them what was available or this or that, and they were like doe-eyed. Then you went to Martha Stewart, who I think was really a great cheerleader for the floral industry, even though she made it seem like everyone could go out and pick a lot of flowers and that day, and that's how it's done, and it was cheap. It's not cheap, you know. Now you have the brides coming to you with all kinds of worldwide information.
It's really frustrating to know that you have a $4,000 limit, half of it's gone already, and you still have 10 months worth of what else do I need to buy?
Yeah, I think it's just like it can be as stressful as you want to make it.
You really believe that?
Yeah, I really believe it.
What if I told her this, that I want my cake to match my dress? DJ, I didn't even think about DJs. I am so screwed. I don't know anything that I need for this wedding. I'm gonna have cake and nothing else.
MC Music Productions. Would you hire a part-time doctor to give you surgery?
The first thing we thought about doing was DJing it ourselves, and we were planning to do like an iPod, plug it in, and have like my brother or somebody be in charge of like pressing play. I even came up with a whole like playlist of songs that we were gonna use. But in the end, I just kept reading all these websites with like sad DJs being like, don't do that. Like you really need to have a real DJ there.
The other thing that the DJ does, which you don't even think about, is they're the MC. They're saying, you know, hey, let's get together. Let's, you know, we're gonna do the first dance now. We're gonna do the speeches now.
That was really helpful, having somebody be in control.
New Year's Eve super weddings. Are we gonna try to get married like around a holiday or something?
In February, we could say that we're doing it for Valentine's Day.
I'm just gonna do the stupid sitcom dad jokes. Better check in with headquarters. We told her that Nina and I were getting married. We said we're shooting a documentary on our own wedding.
So we have Nina and Mike?
Frankie.
Frankie. I had a
You can call me Mike.
February 14th, Valentine's Day.
That's it.
Roughly about how many people?
Inviting about 125.
Do you like rounds versus squares?
Squares.
Or you like
Yeah,
squares. Are you going to want to save the top or serve the top?
I didn't even know.
I think at least for the appearance of the cake, we're gonna go really traditional.
That's super traditional. You don't want to go that old.
Yeah, that looks a little 80s. Yeah, I like breaking it up a little bit with the middle layer, but I think I really like that.
really
work
like
the
the
most.
embroidery.
Yeah.
So what we have here is we have the plain chocolate and plain vanilla.
Chocolate's very nice. Are people often, they get real stressed about the cake?
The whole wedding aspect gets a little stressful. Picking out just the right dress, picking out the right tuxedo, picking out the DJ, the music.
Would you agree, Bridezilla?
That's a cannoli cake. Can't choose cake, cannolis, you just smush them together.
I'm kind of one for a basic cake.
But see, a lot of times the groom, that's his biggest part of, they're like, I want it to taste good.
This is how to make a movie.
Here and here will give you enough to serve 152 people. Between these two servings would give you enough to serve 122 people. Are you having a bride and groom on top? Or you want to do flowers, monograms? Do you have any ideas of that?
We could also do like a beach thing since we both like love the beach so much.
In February?
Oh yeah, right.
Normally the prices will start at $3.50 a serving, so you're looking at about $6.88.
$6.88.
If we had wanted to get a small wedding cake or like a smaller one and have that really intricately designed and then just buy a bunch of sheet cakes from her, we probably could have gotten the price down to like $300. Aaron has eaten a lot of people's real wedding cakes while everyone else got served sheet cakes.
True that. And that's what happens,
When
by
you
the way.
worked in the wedding industry.
Yeah, when I worked at banquet halls, they cut the piece of cake, bring it into the kitchen, and then you're getting sliced off like sheet cake.
You've given us a lot to think about.
How early in the process of planning weddings are prospective people getting married seeking you guys out?
Well, here's the order of operations. You know, of course, they fall in love, they get engaged, and the first thing they have to do is pick a date. Then it's typically the venue and the church. Those two have to sync together.
The most expensive part by far, at least for us, was the food. Not just the food, but like paying for like all the labor, so like all the kitchen staff and the servers and all that stuff.
If we have a DJ, we have to feed the DJ. If we have a photographer, videographer, we have to feed them as well.
Linens, plates, napkins, forks, cups, all that stuff. You have to pay for all that stuff. And the bartender, and the cook, and the prep cooks, and you know, all that stuff. And the catering manager.
The bride is not the center of attention on the day of. It really is the food. It really is the venue. Is the DJ great? At the end of the night, no one's really saying, oh my God, the bride was so beautiful. It's gonna be, the food sucked, the DJ was awful, and I really hated the venue. Weighing on my mind is really the food, because we love food and we wanna make sure that people are happy and satisfied.
We're looking at venues today.
We're at a country club nearby our hometown. It is actually very nice, but it is also kind of a place you go when you're going to get married.
It's a little prefab.
We've been to weddings here before.
We've been to weddings, I've been to funeral events, proms.
Anytime there's sort of a staple milestone, you have to come here and eat some chicken.
Yeah.
I have zero idea of how much one of these costs.
Depending on the bar and the food and the service, you know, this is where you're really looking at like at least, you know, that $10,000 chunk of your budget.
I've been noticing that whenever people have weddings, they don't want it to necessarily reflect their own means. They want to look like they are Prince Charles. Nothing says I'm wealthy, at least for a day, than a country club, right?
Even if we're not members. I'm gonna play the role of excited, engaged bride-to-be.
How many people are you interested in having?
Between 100 and 125.
Okay.
We were looking at like spring, summer of next year.
Yeah, you should be fine then.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you our south room. Okay. The minimum in the room is 75 guests and the maximum is 125. You get our chairs. We do offer chair covers if you want to do white or ivory. In addition, we can order napkins for you that can match your colors. So this would be if you're right at 125 and you'd rather have the bigger space.
The room rental fee for a Saturday evening is $700, and the food and beverage minimum for this room is $6,000.
Do people ever do their own linens or anything like that? Or
We prefer that you use our vendors for that, but it's all about you.
In the same vein as the chair linens, if we wanted to decorate the ceiling and the walls or
we have
anything.
vendors that do that as well.
Okay, but we couldn't come in and do it ourselves if we wanted to have like some of Nina's artwork on the walls or something like that.
With one line, we had cast Nina into a whole history of artwork.
Yeah.
Like the last 20 years, she's been perfecting her craft.
How terribly gratuitous would it be if you showed up to a wedding and their artwork was all over the walls?
I'm sure it's been done. I'm sure it's been done and done and done.
Do people come in and do a lot of draping, like the ceiling draping? Okay.
The ceremonies take place at that gazebo out back there. $600 to get married on site. That includes a rehearsal on the Thursday prior to your wedding.
How far in advance do you normally book?
Usually about a year to 16 months apart. I mean, I had a woman come in beginning of December. She's getting married in January.
Sometimes you just gotta find a place to get married.
Brides are pushed more now to be like a year out or 2 years out. There's so much pressure. So I think that's why people are more willing to just sign and start with the whole process essentially.
Way further out.
Yeah, any wedding we do for any 5-hour period.
So a wedding is 5 hours?
Yep, we're just starting to get into tented outdoor ceremonies, and that's about $2,000.
Would you make a cake even?
We don't do cake.
Okay, yeah.
We do like desserts if you want like brownies and stuff like that.
How about just a tower of brownies?
Probably.
All right.
If we wanted to incorporate painting into the reception, how open would you be to that? Just watercolors on the tables.
Like if we were gonna have guest painting.
For the guests too.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, we'd probably have to look at linens that would be, that they wouldn't ruin.
Right.
You know? So maybe set an area.
A paint safe zone.
That's right.
I wanted to keep going with that and have like us painting out there. Like part of the ceremony was you had to paint a picture. Like you guys together will paint a picture.
Everyone gets a stroke.
A picture of your beautiful future.
So this is the Venetian room. The room fee for Saturday evening is $500. And the food and beverage minimum is $3,000.
I actually thought the smaller room was quite nice, and it was very reasonable. And that's also where I had my junior snowball when I was in 11th grade.
So maybe you're biased a little here.
I might be.
So you could have your wedding themed as your junior snowball.
My junior snowball.
It's cool. Everyone's got to wear retainers.
Did you have a preference of a date at all?
The beginning, middle of August. We want it to be really hot.
These are the dates that we have available.
The 8th, that'll probably be the hottest.
Looking for that hottest day.
Well, we're doing like a winter, like blizzard theme in August.
Oh,
so
cool.
we want it to be kind of cold in here, but like really hot and
Hot
contrasty outside.
So like a winter wonderland almost.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we kind of want to do everything.
But boiling.
Can we control the temperature? Like if we wanted it to be cold in here and do like soups and hot chocolates and like winter type food,
Yep.
could we do that?
We can only make it as cold as the cold air conditions will allow us to make it.
Okay.
Without freezing over.
Yeah, the station thing seems a little bit trendier. It seems like traditional is more the sit down
I'm nothing if not trendy.
people.
And all your older relatives will be like, what the heck did we just walk into? It's hot outside, it's cold in here, there's marshmallows and hot chocolate. I don't get
I'm
it.
leaving.
We're going to want to lock the doors behind them. So
And
they
freeze
can't
them
get
out.
Yeah, freeze them in.
We'll have a cheese station for you, and that usually gets destroyed by your guests. We'll cut your cake for you. We typically don't make it, but we'll cut it for you, and that's no additional fee.
Everyone I heard of was
Yeah,
upset about the
there's like
cake cutting fees.
$1.75, $2. People are,
Well, you don't want to cut a cake wrong.
yeah.
Lobster mac and cheese, Frankie.
Delicious.
You like lobster mac and cheese?
I like mac and cheese. Add lobster to it and I'm just dead.
If you do the package, you actually get the cheese station and hors d'oeuvres.
Well, they're going to be full by the time the lobster mac and cheese comes out.
They could be.
They'll be full and we'll be bankrupt. John, penne, linguine, or farfalle?
Oh, I have to go for follow.
The pasta choices were weak.
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with the pasta choices.
You know, you pick and choose. Soup and salad. Do we want to do a soup? It's August, probably not. We'll do a salad. It's $3.50 a person. Do we want to do a pasta station? Sure. So you pick a pasta for folly, because that's what John said. And then you pick 2 sauces here.
I like the modular pricing because then you can be like, I want no tablecloths.
It looked to me like you might be able to do this on a budget easier.
Yeah, I think so.
To do anything with an open bar, we do offer different levels of open bar for a different amount of time. So if you want to do like a beer, wine, and soda for that first hour, it's $8 per person and so forth.
You can do a cash bar if you'd like $5 for domestic beer, $5.50 for international, $7 for a glass of wine. Just so you have an idea, mixed drinks are usually $7 to $10 and $11.
The attendees are supposed to be supporters and family and friends who already know their financial situation. If anything, are there to help them start their lives. And instead they're
Well,
like...
that's what it used to be when it was a smaller...
And instead people show up going, it's not an open bar. And I'm like, why are you giving them shit for not being rich?
You can't like spend $30 on yourself at a wedding.
Yeah.
You really can't buy $30 worth of drinks.
You just ask all your good friends to bring potluck types of treats, right? And if you can't afford liquor for everybody, you have a cash bar. And then you get a church hall or a veterans hall that really doesn't rent for much. Sometimes it's free if you're a member. And then there goes that expense too. I know a lot of people who, maybe it's because I'm in academics and know people who really distrust the expensive type weddings because they think it's a status thing. That can either be important to you or you can discipline yourself against it.
If you wanted to do an open bar, if you want to do it for a select period of time, if you want to do it for just a cocktail hour, or if you want to put down, say, like $2,000, and then beyond that, it'll become cash. Or you could even put wine on the table, $20 per bottle. We do a 20% administrative fee. If you do want to do the ceremony on site, it's an additional $425. I can run this for you if you're really interested.
Let's take a quick look.
$2,000 in alcohol. That seems like a lot.
Your total food would be approximately $9,250. And then the open bar, I just did the $2,000. Your total is approximately $14,000.
$14,000.
We do charge a 7% meal tax and 20% house fee to all the food prices on the bill.
Do you have a coat room?
We do.
since everyone will have coats.
We're going to want to provide something, blankets or scarves.
I don't think people have coats, but
No,
you bring in.
Well, we might be telling them to bring coats if we're going to do it winter themed.
The chair covers are included, or if you want to upgrade to the Shivari chairs, which is the ones that we're sitting in here, it's an additional $250 per chair. We have them in gold, silver, white, black, and like the natural brown colors as well.
Oh, so these are the Shivari chairs, right? In here?
Sturdy as an ox.
Are you personally there this whole time?
Yep.
Are you part of our big day?
Yes.
Has anyone ever asked you anything crazy, like to match their colors for the wedding?
I was wearing something once, and someone was like, that would be perfect if you wore that for our wedding day. You'd fit right in. Like, can you be a sit-in? Because my sister can't make it or whatever. And I was like...
How inauthentic is that? Can you just be my best friend for the day? I know we don't know each other.
Yeah. I've had weddings where they're partying up until the last possible second, and then other times people are leaving at 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And I feel terrible, because you plan it out, and then people just don't want to enjoy it.
Right.
I don't think we'd really offend anyone by not inviting them to the ceremony.
Right. No one wants to go to those anyway.
I don't know about no one. All the grandparents will want to go.
80 plus.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Take a book.
We're going to get more ideas. We're going to have a wintry painting ice cream themed wedding now.
I got yet another book. These things are like the primary reason for deforestation.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, this can't be cheap to print.
You should have a wedding that's just themed with everything you got for free from all the bridal fairs.
There you go.
We have a nice free sample theme.
Free sample theme, yeah.
Have you looked at any bridal magazines yet?
Yes, it's us.
Totally. Taylor Swift and Josh Duhamel.
I have all kinds of new homework.
You need to want what you need to want. You need to know what you want, and then want it.
My wants aren't specific enough. I don't have like a theme.
You're supposed to have been caring about how this whole thing goes down since you were
My
young.
entire life.
Right. Was there ever a time in your life where you did kind of want a wedding? Like when you were little?
No. I went through the phase where I wanted a pony, and then I wanted a castle.
John, you're a well-known bargain hunter.
Yeah. My natural inclination was to keep pushing down the cost.
You're not getting under 10,000.
No,
just here.
Right out with the open bar. Screw that. They can maybe soda, maybe put an open soda.
No, so no bar, Sunday instead of a Saturday.
Sunday in February.
Well, you could do any day in February from what she was saying.
True.
She seemed like she was willing to talk about bringing the Mac into a lower tier. I would have pressed her on that.
I was flummoxed by the chairs. Over $250 just to switch out chairs. Chairs that they obviously already have here. They're not renting them.
And they were rickety. They weren't nearly as strong as those nice strong chairs. Oh well, I sat on one in the thing. I mean, it was fine, but I wouldn't want to sit on that.
Again, the whole point is to look wealthy.
I think you could make the impression of wealth without spending even $10,000.
We produced the original Wedding Expo Bridal Show in Masson, Rhode Island, 6 different shows. We also publish Bride and Groom magazine. The customer base is anybody planning a wedding. They pick up the free magazine at a lot of locations. You take a room like this, create a floor plan, create a contract, and start getting that out to potential vendors. We just finished setting up registration. They're working on the fashion show area. All the booths are set up. Vendors are coming in. It's a pretty calm setup. It's nice and, we have a saying at the office, you have a year to get it right. We're here twice a year in April and November. We're expecting 500 engaged couples, probably about 2,000 total people. Big show.
I work for a few different promotional companies. I get everything from, do you want to be the Pillsbury Doughboy and the Wendy Williams show? A couple weeks ago, I was giving out March Madness brackets, and this time it was, hey, we need people to work a bridal expo. It's just friendly faces for hire. Next to no coaching occurs. They send me a PDF of the things I'm supposed to say, usually certain buzzwords or phrases.
So how far in advance should I be looking at booking photography?
My take on it is if you find somebody you like, I wouldn't wait.
Okay. This book is on metal. It weighs 6 pounds. What's your most popular flavors?
You know what? The cookie dough today seems to be the most popular, and the peanut butter one.
Always engaged couples, whether it be bride, mom, bridesmaids, bridal party. Tomorrow's a bye week for the Patriots. A lot of grooms. We book these shows years out, so we're always waiting for the Patriots to release their schedule and go. If it's a 1 o'clock Patriots game, they'll come early and then skedaddle out to the game.
There were some dudes, some reluctant purse-holding dudes, or the dudes who would have the swag bags and they'd be in charge of holding all the things. I didn't see enthusiastic dudes.
Is that the groom?
No. I could not get the groom to come today.
Team Tux.
And what do you have?
Team Guest.
Hi there.
And we handle bands, DJs, photography, videography, uplighting, and photo booths. We also have the ability to do a payment plan. So it's $299 down and then equal monthly payments up until the month of the wedding. It just helps manage cash flow. It's really important when you're planning a wedding, when your venue's going to want 50% down.
We notice a lot more people go for photography than videography, or do you not see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, when people are planning a wedding, it's, number 8 on their list of things that they want to get, and then after their wedding, it's the first thing that they regret not doing.
One thing I wish that we had gotten a videographer. I love the photographs, but I wish that we had more live footage of like the dances.
We're actually bringing on more photographers now that also have the capability to shoot video while they're there, so it's not that much of an added cost. She also has the ability to set up a static camera and shoot the vows, or bring it in and shoot the toasts.
This is my maid of honor, Hannah.
Hi. I mean, I'm not OCD, but I really do hope and pray that, my maid of honor will listen to me and get the right type of dress, jewelry, and whatnot. I don't know if she will, but...
Yes, can you hold the bag for me? Can you assist me?
We've been in the shows for years and years, so they're not as big as they used to be. Yeah.
Used to be bigger than
Oh yeah, a lot bigger. Oh yeah. Shows used to be 300, 400, 500 brides come to a show. Today, lucky to get 200.
We don't do bridal shows in the summer. Vendors and brides, really hard to get them at 80 and sunny. They'll go to the beach. We've not tried a summer bridal show because it's just, it's really hard to guarantee 85 vendors and 500 brides. It's really hard. I wouldn't want to try that and fail. For a show like in April, you'll have a lot of couples who are already halfway through their wedding planning. They're coming to get the final things done. January, February, newly engaged. They don't have anything. They're coming to the show saying, help me. What happens is function facilities love the January, February shows because that's one of the first things that engaged couples will, because that's what they're told. Get your date, get your facility, and everything falls in from there.
It's like there's a checklist of what everyone thinks they need. Well, they've picked their colors, they've picked their venue, so now they need to know what kind of flowers they're getting. And it's as if there was a sequence to how you had to choose these things.
We specialize in bachelorette parties, home parties, and then we have an adult novelty side, so we're able to bring the fun into the home as well.
Tell me a little more about the adult side.
Okay, so the adult side, Athena's Home Novelties is the one company that allows men to be also at their show. And then these same spa products are also brought over to our adult novelty side because they all have pheromones in them, and our biggest sex organ is our skin.
Are there caterers that you guys normally work with?
We're owned by corporations. So we have a sister company, Courier and Chives. So they will, you can hire them as a caterer, and then they get all of their items from us. Dance floor we provide, rolling bars we provide, pretty much everything you need except for the food.
So you guys do like the air conditioning and like the dance floor and like all that stuff?
We can do the air conditioning for you. It is very expensive as far as air conditioning is concerned, but I will just let that be known.
How long have you been doing it?
Myself, since I was 7.
Really?
Yeah, it's a family business, second generation family business. I grew up pushing the coffee and donut cart during exhibitor setups.
We have over 300 stores. Right now we have 12 months interest-free. It's normally 6 months, but we're running a promotion until the end of the month, so it kind of frees up money for everything else for you. You have 12 months to pay it off. We also have a layaway option where you put 25% down and you have 60 days to pay it off.
Well, the dress is always number one, even before the date. We need to make that clear.
She's been waiting forever.
When she was a little girl, she was dreaming of that dress. She was, and so many girls talk about that.
If you come into the booth, we're giving $50 off towards the purchase of your wedding gown. And if you already have your wedding gown, we're giving you $25 off the purchase of anything in our store just for coming in and viewing our bridesmaids collection.
This is a Mercedes Sprinter. The brides like it because there's no graceful way of getting in and out of the stretch. I feel like I'm tucking them in.
Whatever the hell this is, I want to do it.
Yeah, we're giving free smile screenings.
Oh, awesome. Would you like to get rid of the problem? No.
Is it Frankie?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So I'm going to have you step up on the scales, focus on having equal weight on both sides.
All right.
So when you look at your spine, it should be straight from the front, and on the side, it should have this nice curve to it. Research shows us that if our spine is out of alignment, that's when we begin to feel pain or have other health problems because these nerves are being interfered with. The tip of your ear should align with the center of your shoulder. Your head's about 3 inches more forward than it should be. Our spines can get out of alignment from a simple fall from when we were kids, even when we were born, because being born is not an easy process. process.
No, I remember it. It sucked.
Yeah. So
A lot of brides look into their backs, or it's just general.
chiropractic is good for everybody. It's the way we can keep it healthy, stay away from doctors, unnecessary drugs that we're put on. Brides want to be healthy for their wedding day.
I'm photojournalistic. I work as a news photographer.
Okay. What kind of other styles are out there? I haven't.
There's traditional, there's romantic, there's a documentary, which is sort of what you're doing. If you feel that you have a large amount of guests plus a big wedding party, maybe 2 photographers, one for 4 hours, one for 8.
Oh, so what do you guys do?
Mobile coffee catering.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen a lot of this. Do a lot of people do like coffee bars?
Well, this is recent for this area.
Okay.
Anything that you can get at Starbucks, you can get here.
Oh, awesome. All right, thank you very much.
No problem.
I want a big fur coat and like a bird on my head, and I want Frankie hanging out by a brick wall.
I think they've become a lot more sophisticated.
It's technology.
It is technology. It's education. It's a lot of things.
The TV shows, Say Yes to the Dress, David Tutera's.
And I also worked an event for WeTV featuring David Tutera. I have never watched the show. I know it's a reality show and he is a wedding planning type person. There was this reverence for everything he had to say. And I had no experience with this man. I don't watch reality shows about weddings. No offense to people who do. He was just a man in an expensive suit with a lot of fake tanner, and these women were fawning over everything he had to say. So this one woman had a question because she found this group of slightly different but batched dresses for her bridesmaids, and they were on sale, but they were brown, and she had already bought all of them, but they were brown, and they were kind of ugly, but she had bought them because they were cheaper. And David Tutera was like, no, you should have pretty dresses. You should, your wedding should be about you, and I'm gonna tell you some ways we can alter this and make it better. And he's just advising her to walk away from all this money she already spent, and I'm working, so I have a smile on with my tray of chocolates. But they took everything he said as the way things are and the way things should be.
Any wedding that makes it to TV, if it's David Tutera, if it's Bridezilla's, if it's Kim Kardashian, I always tell my husband, it is research. When I am here with my wine and my popcorn, I am researching.
Things that change are what's hot, what's not. Right now, photo booths are still huge.
Hi.
How you doing?
Not bad.
Welcome to the executive photo booth. Almost like, you remember the ones in the mall?
Yes.
So like that, sit down, you push a button, it takes your picture 4 times.
Yeah, they can put on their silly hats, something here, they can have a good time instead of just sitting there. Some of them don't want to dance. And you can go on Facebook, Twitter, email, or text any of them in the booth, or if you choose to do it at home. This is our 3rd year. First year we had 103 weddings. Last year we did 278. This year we're shooting for 400.
We have that almost instantaneously.
Oh, that's really cute.
Scrapbook feature.
We have 3, 4, and 5 hour packages. We offer the scrapbook. Okay. You get to design your own logo with our boss. Okay. Unlimited photos. Okay.
Okay, thank you. You have somebody with you? And this is my maid of honor.
You two go in, I'll photograph.
Every guest that goes in there will leave with a photo strip. Okay. 8 people in there, they all walk out with a strip. Okay. We always bring 40 to 50 props. Okay.
Do we want it black and white or do we want it colored?
Definitely color.
Okay, we took one. All right, so now pick up your photos outside.
You can do a custom logo at the bottom.
It does point out to me how little I think about things or how little I knew was out there.
Yep,
I didn't know that you could put little charms on the bottom of the wine glasses.
Oh, yeah. Like, photo booths? I didn't know that was a thing. Should we get one? Yeah, let's get one. It'll be so fun.
You have to give favors to everyone who comes to your wedding. If you can be like, just jump in the photo booth.
Yeah.
But no, everyone's sick of getting Jordan almonds and votive candles for favors at weddings.
Yes.
Nobody wants those anymore.
I'm a little conflicted on the whole idea of marriage and wedding expos. Then I started to see that's kind of nice. Oh, look at this.
You started telling me that you saw the benefit of flowers. That
Yeah,
some of the bouquets were beautiful.
The flowers will probably be done very cheaply. I'm not looking at anything expensive. I might even do them myself.
So the floral stuff scares me. I don't know anything about flowers. I've heard like 2,000 to 10,000, depending on how much you do yourself.
In general, it all just looks like paper to me. I always thought like mom planted them and then brought them and then that was that. I don't know a corsage from a...
Croissant.
Is that even right?
The flowers aren't just flowers. Flowers are candles and vases and crystalware. You have to match it with your venue and the dresses and the cake, and I'm lost on the order.
My understanding is that they order them from exotic locales from around the world, and that's what drives the price up. It's like almost a drug market.
Valentine's Day. Wow, 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 wow. I hope you have a good budget on that if you're getting roses. Some of our pictures that we do you have a theme on your wedding, or?
So we have colors.
Okay,
We
what-
have teal and gray.
Okay.
Now, what colors are you looking for?
We're doing an ice cream themed
Mhm.
wedding. So we're doing like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. So like whites, pinks, and browns.
Okay.
The bridesmaids, I wanted to maybe do their arrangements like in like either waffle cones or things that kind of looked, again, that kind of V shape.
Does such a thing exist as what my fiance is describing?
If it doesn't, we always keep making it.
So yeah, Frankie, so if we did like anything that's kind of ball shaped will then look like
You just need to
the
take
scoop.
the base and give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could definitely be done.
So waffle cones and ice cream.
Yes.
So we were looking at Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Valentine's, you pay 3 times more.
Are there any other times that you would recommend avoiding that are
Mother's Day weekend.
okay?
Really, a lot of people get married on Mother's
and
Day.
Memorial Day.
Well, no, but
moms
people are
need
buying their
flowers
mom's
on
flowers.
Mother's Day.
Oh, right.
Would you put anything like sprinkles on them?
That would be
Jewels
cute if
for
we
sprinkles?
could do like little studded like rhinestones, like
Rocky Road.
Do you grow your own stuff, or how do you?
No, that's all shipped from
Yeah, that has to
Ecuador.
come from other
They're from California. I gotta pull out your vision, because a lot of brides are like, oh, I like this, and I like this, and I don't like this. But the more you bring, the more confused you're gonna get.
Do most people come in and know exactly what they want for flowers?
No, a lot of them go to Pinterest.
Okay.
People are bringing in their Pinterests all the time, right?
They pretty much bring the Facebook pictures, pretty much anything. They bring it in.
I'll show you a bouquet that I did last week to my phone. I'll be right
Oh, that'd be
back.
great.
Okay. The hell is it? Oh, it's a dog.
Hey, you behave.
Well, we have a lot of weddings now. They're very into bling, crystals.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of
crystals,
crystals and vases and lights and
Shiny is in right now.
You know, used to do just bling, bling.
White roses.
Again and again and again.
Do people ever come in with colors that they want a flower to be, and you have to try and
Match the swatch.
match it?
Sometimes, but then sometimes we can't do it.
Yeah,
because
yeah. Sometimes
too-
it's just not
impossible. Yeah.
It's not natural.
Yeah.
It doesn't come out of the
It
earth.
doesn't come out of the earth that way.
How come every florist I go to has got a little Buddha hanging out?
I guess for a good look.
30 years of experience. I started out of the garage in the basement, and then I worked myself to open a business. They would give me all the work. And then, if I'm gonna do all the work, might as well open my own.
yeah. Have you guys been in the area for a while?
19 years. I started working for somebody else. Just doing a good job. So I said, you know what? Let me try it by myself, see how it goes. And
I can probably take a few of these customers and.
I did.
Yeah.
How far in advance normally should someone come in before the wedding to start the process?
6 months before.
Okay.
I'm talking about 36, 40.
36, 40. Go to another florist, I charge you an arm and a leg.
Okay.
Because every florist is different. You go to another florist, they'll say, okay, a wedding here will cost you, say, $5,000.
Yeah.
You go to another florist, it'll cost you $20,000 for the same flowers. How you get from one florist, you're gonna get the same thing when I'm gonna go to the same market.
Let's say that we suddenly got a taste for roses for Valentine's Day.
That would be
The cost of a venue.
probably a little bit more than that. $580 a piece
For flowers.
Per arrangement?
per arrangement. Roses run pretty much 3 times to 4 times more.
Well, they're 3 to 4 times more romantic.
If that's something you want to do, you want to get married Valentine's Day, yeah,
Go bankrupt.
how about for you?
Yeah.
Would you want to go in the same direction?
She's gonna come in a giant Sunday costume.
So I kind of want it to be big. So kind of just bigger than everything else around it.
Big like this?
Yes, I want it to be huge.
All right.
I want to be the center of attention.
We can do that.
What do you think for the moms?
Handheld?
What do you think?
I think they should be good humor bars. Actual ones, even.
I like the idea.
As they melt?
Yeah.
To look a little bit different, do the cones upside down. Like, you know how
Like those
they
friendly
fell?
Sundays.
Yeah. If
Oh,
they
that
fell
would be
on the
cute.
floor, almost like they're falling off.
Oh.
And that would be nice to go like on top of the table.
Some good humor.
We're getting there.
You gotta make yourself a budget.
Yeah.
You gotta say, okay, this is what I need for a budget. I got so much for the bridesmaids, so much for centerpieces, so much for this and that. I recommend all my customers and all my brides are coming in because I still have 24 hours. Oh, I want it a little bigger. Oh, can you add another flower? Or put the gemstones in, you know. 'Cause next
Excellent.
week's wedding, yeah, she's got hot pink and purple, so I can break it up.
Are they arriving in the Barbie Corvette?
I'm not the limo driver. I'm just the one that make it look pretty.
Even when they buy them, People don't want to take them home. We had a wedding yesterday, and they left the centerpiece behind, so pretty much they didn't take anything.
Just one day, it's all gone.
Your living room's gonna be an ice cream parlor.
Well, somebody suggested balloons, which sounded horrible.
Not into the balloons. I'm with you.
I love your idea.
one of the
It's
worst
totally
ones.
different, and it's something that we can put on Facebook, and it's like something different.
No, that's an idea. An entire Thanksgiving meal made out of flowers.
For my wedding.
You open an oven, it's flowers.
Now the tablecloth you're using as what, white or ivory?
Probably ivory, because then it's more of like the kind of French vanilla ice cream color, because then we're gonna do like the browns for chocolate and strawberries and stuff.
It's ridiculous. When last we spoke, we were 10 months away from the wedding.
Yes.
How many months away are we now?
2 months away. 2 months and 2 weeks.
You were, at the time, talking about a $4,000 budget.
Yeah, we've kind of exceeded the 4,000. No more than 6,000. We're really hoping for 5,500. By the day of the wedding, we'll exceed it probably by about 3,000. We definitely underestimated the food expense because the number of people have gone up, but we're now up to 173 people being invited.
How did that happen?
Family.
Something about weddings, like people, they just like, I don't know why, they really just want to be invited. It's nothing to do with like me or like being involved in my life or anything. It's just for some reason they really want to be invited to this wedding, and I don't know why.
I honestly thought some of my aunts would call me and be like, how could you do this? How could you not tell us? How could you just, not involve everybody? And no one did. They were all so happy. They sent us cards. Like, it was really it was nice. And I think, again, they were probably just like, crazy cat lady Amy got married. Yay, she's not going to die alone.
How's Danny doing?
Danny's being really good. He's being really patient. We do not have a photographer.
Okay.
Well, I'll do the photography.
Well, I guess I could do video, you could do photography.
Yeah, what's the date?
June 14th. Sunday.
Oh yeah, totally.
You heard it here, folks. Look, I understand that there is a difference between a really expensive photo and a free photo, but there's not that much of a difference.
No. There was an incident recently. I weighed a little less about a year ago, and I was able to fit into the dress perfectly. Since then, I'm sure stress and food have been contributing factors, and I had a pretty personal conversation with my mom one day, and unfortunately, I couldn't fit into the dress. And she called me, and she basically said to me, you need to force yourself to lose the weight, because if you can't, then we need to find another dress. And I immediately got pissed off, started crying. I mean, it was, 4 or 5 pounds that I needed to lose. I just simply couldn't zip the little stupid 3-inch zipper up. And, for her, it was like the end of the world that I couldn't fit into this dress.
What'd you do in the way of invitations and all that?
Invitations were a pain in the ass.
Oh, invitations. I made my own invitations, which allowed me to save like several $100s. For me to get like 50 invitations printed, it was like going to be anywhere between $300 and like $600. And then I went to Staples and got them printed. Yeah. And I bought the paper, and then the actual printing was $5.
For the whole thing?
For the whole thing. This was my save the date that I made. And I wanted to do the postcard because you don't have to buy envelopes, and you get to save on the postage because it's only 34 cents. So you gotta think about these things. I would totally sell this on Etsy if I didn't think I would get sued by Lego. Then I have my invitations that I made, and then I printed it in black and white, and then I colored it in with colored pencils. It's nice paper, right? And then I just cut it out with a paper cutter, like $60.
Why have we not just adjusted to the fact that we have computers and we can just send this stuff by email?
Well,
Grandma doesn't get email.
Exactly. I even wanted to put the RSVP, our phone number and email on the invitation without including a reply card. Everybody was up in arms about it.
What?
Oh, no. Grandma can't do that. No, who's going to email you? What if you're working throughout the day?
I'm a Southern gal and did cotillion and all of that, and invitations for everything, even the backyard barbecue. And then the industry has changed, and we had the world of Evites. Over time, though, this is the area where brides still want to come and meet and feel papers and see colors.
So I now have to dish out $125 in stamps just to get these damn things out.
Are you doing fancy transportation, limos, party vans?
We thought that we were going to need to have a bus to bring people from like half an hour away, which is like the second closest hotel, because we were worried that we were going to fill up the hotel in town, and so we would have to bring a bus of people in. And nobody ended up booking at that hotel, so we paid like $1,000, $1,100.
$1,200 for a bus that nobody ended up using.
Literally nobody used it.
I have a feeling that my family is doing something to get me to the wedding, but I don't know what.
Have you had success with DIY stuff?
Because so many weddings are going DIY, they're marking all of the prices up, so it's completely bogus.
They're not going to let go of these age-old, time-tested revenue streams.
Right, exactly.
These are the flowers that I'm supposed to be able to make. They're made out of paper. Basically, when you try to make these and you fail terribly and you feel like a horrible human being, that's what happens. If you did like a lot of crafts and like you maybe did a lot of origami and stuff, you could probably do this. But like the average person that doesn't do a lot of paper crafting probably could not do this.
So here we are, we're caught up to present day.
We actually haven't bought any gifts for anyone yet. We wanted to see where the money was, and then we could figure out what type of gift we could afford. We're doing pulled pork, pulled chicken, mac and cheese. It'll probably wrap up to about $3,500.
You've spent the last 8 months of your life with this as your, would you say, top priority?
Top priority. It's really the most stressful, frustrating, aggravating thing I've ever had to deal with. And it really shouldn't be.
When it's not just your day, because it's not.
It's not.
Did you know it was going to be this hard?
I was hoping it wasn't going to be. I was really hoping it wasn't. I was praying, but no, I didn't.
You're falling to pieces again. Yeah. You were crying in happiness last time.
He's been amazing. But at the same time, I know that he's almost been. I think he's wanted to walk away a few times with the stress that he's seen me under, but yeah.
You know, I was the best man at 2 weddings, and it's a great institution. There was a lot of expense, and the last wedding I was at was in Key West, and so it was a destination wedding where everyone had to pay for a plane ticket and do that, and so I thought that, you know, in some respect, that's kind of nice because it gets people together. It makes people travel, see a new place that they didn't want to see, and or maybe they did want to see. I shouldn't have said that, but
the majority right now for 2015 are destination weddings, and I've sent them all over the world, to Italy, to Dubrovnik, Croatia, lots going to the Caribbean, Mexico. We go all over the place. People aren't wanting a cookie cutter wedding experience any longer. They want something customized. They want it personalized. You know, maybe their cousin just got married, but they aren't looking for the exact same experience or event. That's where we come in. We customize it. The biggest challenge, I think, is finding the location that works for you, that fits within your framework and expectations. Once that's done, everything pretty much comes into place.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody's either been to a destination wedding that got ridiculous, or they went to.
Those are terribly selfish.
Yeah.
Don't ask people to attend what you're calling your special event and drop like $700 on a plane ticket.
It's my day.
I sure hope you have an extra $500 to just come out and dress fancy.
They just have to get on a plane. They show up. They have a week with their family and friends. They get married. Everything is taken care of for them. It's very relaxing, very enjoyable experience. It is definitely more expensive for the guests to come. Although, you know, guests are, you know, we're a mobile society at this point. I've got several weddings where people are coming from California. It's costing them as much money to come from California as it is to go down into the Caribbean. And certainly it's a lot cheaper for the couples, because your destination wedding with 75 people usually is in that $15,000 to $20,000 price range. And with the average wedding in the United States being $28,000, that's not too bad. I mean, there's so many things, though, that are possible now that weren't possible. You know, we can have live feed coming in from the Caribbean, so families who can't go with or friends can actually watch the wedding as it happens.
Yeah, it was fun. I wish I hadn't had to pay to go to Key West and take vacation, but that's my own selfishness. I'm sorry to bring that up, but what was the question?
Sometimes when we've worked with a bride for a longer time, we kind of cultivate this relationship and we do get into that counselor role, referee. The fruit platter that this bride had requested in lieu of or in addition to cake. Fruit was very important to her, whether she was still on a diet, whether there was someone in the family, I don't recall. But the fruit platter was not in the location that we had discussed. When someone says Bridezilla and we see shows that highlight the bridezilla and shows the reward the bridezilla.
You're gonna fix that because this happened on your dime. They thought we were just gonna fold. Gerald's not a folder.
I'm not a folder, bro.
She took the fruit platter up and dumped it on my head. True story. And it was probably the only time in my, I've done this for 15 years, it was the only time I said, I'm gonna take a minute and you're gonna take a minute and I'm gonna take a minute and we're gonna separate. I need a minute. She said, I am so embarrassed and so sorry. And she apologized right on the spot. She said, my mother yelled at me about the fruit platter and I said, I was your punching bag. That's cool. I said I would hug you, but I'm sticky. So let's not hug. I think a lot of the times the thing to realize is it's not bridezilla. It's you're talking about family members, it's some other stressor, and if you can ask and say, can you tell me what's going on behind here? Sometimes that's really appreciated by your client. And you've solved that problem before it gets to a fruit platter on your head. So.
I did one girl's wedding 4 times.
Yes. Same groom?
No.
Oh.
The weddings kept getting more expensive and shorter.
One of the things is the ability to accept that your partner is never going to be exactly the way you want them to be, right? To just accept that and learn how to tolerate that and work around it, rather than battering on them to change. The other is that it's fine to argue, even yell at each other, but you should never show contempt for the other person, right?
My first and hopefully only marriage started when I was in college, so I was about 19 years old.
She's my best friend. She had been brought up from like a little girl to like dream and plan the wedding. I told her from within a week that she started dating him that she needed to get out of the relationship, and then it went on for like, what, 5 years?
4.5. St. Patrick's Day 2011,
Oh, yeah,
I woke up with her hands around my neck because I fell asleep in the middle of an argument.
Well, what we also find from surveys is that people who get divorced, the majority are no happier 5 years later than they were, whether they're single or remarried or stuff. Their happiness levels have not improved.
The drinking and the fighting and the shenanigans and the antics, a lot of fighting and drinking, like an excessive amount of drunken fighting theatrics.
No, because like they were fighting and like drinking.
Let's drop everything and go to India for a month. We went to India. There were usually like a lot of anger marks on my arm. A few months we're back into all of our old patterns, drinking, fighting.
Drink to excess, kill each other practically.
We went to India.
There's one fantastic statistical thing. They found a bunch of people who said that their marriages were really horrible and on the rocks, right? And then they came back 5 years later. Some of the people had, in fact, gone ahead and divorced. The ones who had stayed together for 5 years, even though 5 years before they kind of hated each other's guts, about 80% said they were either happy or very happy with their marriage at that time.
Oh my God, I was terrified. We both were. Actually, we were splitting up, and it was Mother's Day, which is also like my mom's birthday. And we had this family outing to go on, and like I forgot to like put my ring back on, and it was this whole thing of like us pretending to get along in front of my parents and my little brother, and then my parents are private investigators, and they were like, who exactly do you think you're fooling? What's going on? And we kept lying and saying, no, it's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. We're good. And we were trying to keep it from them as long as possible. And then at some point it was like, I wasn't living there anymore, and I had to say something,
I paid a company called FlashDivorce.com, attorney reviewed and drafted for $300, the whole thing.
We decided we'd just do a mediation, and it was like $300, I think. Same cost as getting married in the chapel. I got to keep our Tiffany crystal candlesticks. Shooting a laser pointer through them is the best thing about those candlesticks. It's beautiful.
There was a tremendous amount of divorce beginning in the 60s and 70s, actually the 70s. That's when so-called no-fault marriages came in, which means one person can get a divorce. And you don't have to have a trial where somebody proves that the other one's so bad that you get a divorce, right? But if we go back to that statistic I mentioned before, that people who manage to stick it out, even if they hate each other, stick it out for 5 more years, the chances of them being very happy are very high. By giving an easy divorce, you maybe doom a marriage that eventually would not only be saved, but would have been a good marriage.
Last I counted, it was about, 3 weeks? About 3
Yes,
weeks?
3 weeks.
I did take a breather this week, and I said, wow, we're actually doing pretty good.
Why can't there be any chairs up in this area? Not that many.
We will need a DJ cocktail table in that very corner. Yeah, we have a lot of last-minute planning, a lot of fluffing flowers. We will need 22 tables, including ours. Does that make sense? My anxiety is starting to kind of start again with the table seating and the floor maps and everything else.
Yeah, but that's only one thing instead of everything.
20? 500?
Oh, I like the side lighting.
Oh, yeah,
I like
that's
that. Turn off the track lighting. That's perfect.
I like the soft lighting. This is awesome. It's more of just making sure that a lot of the things are done. We have to make sure that the bar is picked up, that the coolers are all set.
Yeah, we got to arrange the kegs.
Make sure the trellis is finalized. Make sure any other centerpieces are done. That sort of thing. Arrange the kegs.
Yeah.
Kegerator.
Oh, do you want
It's very us.
Yeah.
We got married at the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
It is totally sensationalized, I agree. I have no issue with people having a day that they can remember. Just don't have it a day that you just spent a down payment for a house.
Imagine the things you could do with that money.
I still have hopes that I'll have my movie house wedding. And then everyone from the After Midnight show will be there. And maybe they'll fall asleep at my wedding, like I've fallen asleep at all of their After Midnight movies.
And for me, seeing it all come together. A lot of times you're working with these couples for a year and a half, and you know, you're a coach, you're a referee, you're a psychiatrist, and sometimes you get it all, and it's just an amazing feeling. And I actually had a bride say to me, when I got out of the limo, you were the first person I saw, and I felt so calm, and I knew that the day was gonna be great. And right there, I mean, that's
sure
why you do it.
What time is it? Like 9:35? I got 15 minutes. I'm not nervous at all, actually. Just a little anxiety, that's all. I gotta breathe still. Susana, ¿me puedes hacer un favor? Y pone esa cosa más alta. 3 people to do this. That looks amazing. Yay, I'm happy.
Don't trust me on that one.
Now I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry.
Do you have any idea this was going to happen?
Nope, not a clue.
It's history.
Yeah.
It's all said and done.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing it again. So
We did a total of about 11,000, which wasn't too bad. We started off with inviting 130, and then it grew up to 173. And then, annoyingly, only 130 showed up. So it was really annoying.
and everybody loved the food. That's the first thing everybody said was like, "Oh, the food was excellent." Like, all right.
Including the tip, the total of the food was 3,000. It was amazing. I don't think I'll ever personally run an event like that again without someone to be my second in command. I mean, Danny and I were really trying to fight hard about focusing on having a great time, and all of a sudden we kept getting questions left and right of, you know, when are the songs happening? When are you dancing? You know, when's the food happening? When's the cake happening? So it just got to the point of, I just really want to have fun. Somebody else take care of it. Me as the bride, I was like, I gotta let somebody else take care of it. If they screw it up, they screw it up. I want to look pretty.
You did a good job.
And then, of course, my parents surprised me with a horse and carriage, and that was just like my dream come true. It was something I had been dreaming of since I was little. So it kind of brought a little bit of peace to me seeing Carson out there he was just so pretty. He was awesome.
I think that my family, it was more socializing than dancing.
From the other side, my family, my Spanish side of the family was like, where's the music? I don't understand, where's the, like, so they just wanted merengue, but then it was like, but the majority of the people here aren't Hispanic.
Literally the only ones dancing.
I have heard it from a few people now that there was no dancing and they really wish that there had been. Which is, it's sad to me because that is something that I really wanted to make a big part of the wedding, but there's nothing I could do about it after the fact, you know. I pretty much turned around and told him, you know, if you really wanted to dance, you could have just danced.
Tequila!
I have PTSD from this wedding. I think literally the rehearsal dinner, I was gonna have a nervous breakdown, but I kept it together somehow. I'm trying to kind of focus on other things, get back into my artwork and that sort of thing, but I still have that mental, like I still need to get the thank yous done and make sure that stuff is out the door.
Got a lot of cash cards, and people heard we're going to Ireland, so we got a few euros.
That might be a second documentary. Now it's more of, oh, okay, so you're married. You're gonna try and have a baby while you're on vacation, right? While you're on your honeymoon. And we're just looking at each other like, no. If you're gonna get married, try to have the smallest wedding possible. Only invite those who you and your partner truly feel should be there. Don't listen to anyone else.
I mean, everybody's always like, I just want to do a cookout in my backyard. I've never once been to one of these cookout backyard weddings. It never turns out that way.
Well, anyone we've talked to who starts out being like, we were going to do it small, like we were doing it at this person's parents' house, and it was going to be, you know, a quiet thing. It just gets bigger and bigger.
How are we?
How are we?
What are you doing?
This is a wedding. At the beach for some reason?
This is like a family beach you used to go to when you were a kid?
Yeah. Growing up, always.
You ever think you'd get married here?
I did not. There's like an empty spot down. We're going down that way. A minute or two down that way. Nobody knows what's going on. It's a little crazy.
I think the plan is to get married like just like in front of all of the beachgoers. Anyone recommend a good place to get married around here?
Yeah.
Is Maka the ring bearer?
She's the ring bearer.
I think you should be on this log.
On the log, huh? Let's all squeeze in. This is so
I'd like to welcome you all here today. We're here to celebrate love and the decision for these two people, Michael and Aaron, to commit to spending the rest of their lives side by side.
Waking up every day is just so awesome, and there's no way I could do it without you.
Hard to believe.
Michael, you're more than part of my life. You are my life. I love you. I love waking up on the side of you every morning. If there is such a thing as a soulmate, you are my soulmate. I look forward to the rest of our lives together, and I know I'll always have somebody on the side of me. I love you. Love you.
Okay, everyone's happy to wake up in the morning with each other. That's good. For better or for worse.
For better or for worse.
Till bitter death does us part.
Till bitter death does us part. Well.
There is literally no power invested in me by the state of Massachusetts. But nonetheless, I deem thee husband and man, man and husband. You may now kiss.
Nothing super formal, nothing serious, so it's kind of fun.
You just say, oh, we're having a party. We got married. Join us for a barbecue. You're not going to get grandma to travel across the country. Maybe grandma.
Would people travel for a commitment ceremony, or would they travel for an actual wedding? They're not the same.
I had gone to iParty to buy a bunch of the traditional silly bachelorette stuff. Penis necklaces, this is what, penis confetti. It's really stupid, but you know, she's young. I get a text later that day from another bridesmaid who's my friend. She's like, did you buy any penis items? Well, yeah, because that's what you guys said I should buy. Well, you're gonna have to return them all. Her husband said if she has any penis-related items at the bachelorette party, he will not marry her because it's disrespecting him and his mother.
The penis queen.
The penis queen.
Would you be annoyed if people did like, if they were like, look, a bunch of penis necklaces?
I would be very furious, actually.
I'm furious about these. What if they were like big chocolate ones?
Are you kidding?
Basically like a giant Easter egg, the kind of chocolate that you're eating for 2 months.
I have a wedding dress that was originally from Priscilla's of Boston. I bought it at a thrift store for $35. I keep wearing it for plays and musicals and short films I shoot. And every time I take it out and I steam clean it, my mom says, well, I should hold on to that in case I want to get married in it. And I'm like, Mom, I've fought zombies in this dress. I've been firemen carried. I've been cheated on and divorced in this dress. Why would I want to bring that juju to my real life? I don't think the family pressure would stress me out. It'd be another thing I dismiss. It would be, no, my mom says I should wear my khakis more often. I'm not gonna wear khakis more often. My mom says I should get married. Marry who? Why? Like,
All right, the drinking and the fighting and the shenanigans and the antics, a lot of fighting and drinking, like an excessive amount of drunken fighting theatrics.
No, because like they were fighting and like drinking and physically injuring each other on a regular basis.
But there was a lot of drinking and fighting. A few months we're back into all of our old patterns, you know, drinking, fighting, and then having like makeup sex in the middle, and then I was really unmedicated back then, manic. Let's drop everything and go to India for a month. Not emotionally aware of anything. We went to India. I'm not terribly good in basic social interaction. I was unmedicated. I would get over that feeling by eating or drinking myself into a coma. No! I have enormous generalized anxiety disorder. I woke up with her strangling me. There were usually like a lot of anger marks on my arm. My house gave her bed bugs. We went to India. You know how I make decisions and they're not good decisions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've been in therapy and I've like worked on myself as a human.
Drink to excess, you know, kill each other practically.
A Roman orgy birthday party. We know a lot about bipolar in my family. You went through a veal farm, fancy white woman furniture stores, and we ended up getting rid of the white carpets. We both needed to be medicated and fat.
Let's not talk about the fat thing.
Well, I mean, I was so huge. You have a floppy...
Marriage is extremely important. It transforms people's lives. And so when we go through changes of status, that's always a time for social recognition. It's time to have a party. Even funerals can be seen that way. That's a change of status.
Fighting and drinking.